Welcome, welcome everybody. This is Vishan from Team Tough, and you are on the Down and Dirty at 1:30 Central Time, and it is Halloween. It's October the 31st, 2016. So happy Halloween to all of you, and I know my boys are going to be out trick-or-treating this evening, so it'll be a fun time for all. Today, I'm going to be helping you get unstuck. That's the whole purpose of today's hangout, is to help you so that if you're stuck, be it in a bad relationship, a career that you don't enjoy anymore, maybe you've got some other things going on in your life and you just don't feel like you're getting ahead. Maybe you already have your own business, but you don't seem to be financially making the type of income that you had hoped. Maybe you're just stuck because you can't seem to grow. You're stagnant at where you are. So today I'm going to show you some things that have really helped me to get unstuck when I've been in those places in my life. And I also going to share some resources for you to help you even more than what I might be able to do. Hold on, my computer's giving me a message. Okay, my computer was telling me it might restart on me. I hope it doesn't. That's not the case. But while we're getting going here, let me see who's out there, who's watching me live today. It's a wonderful Monday. I am checking this out, see who we've got. All right. Hey, there's Carol. Good to see you. Rich, glad to see you there. Nicole, awesome to have you on the call. So good to see the ones that are out there live. If you're live and I didn't call your name, be sure to log in down below. You'll see there's a chat role there. It's free to log in, and just say hi. Say hi, and if you have questions as I go along today, go ahead, type them in, and I'll be happy to try to get those answered as we go along. So let's get going here. I'm going to switch my screen around so that you can see the presentation that I've put together. All right, looks like we've got a few more that have jumped on too. So, yep, make sure you sign your name in there so that I can see who you are. It says there's 8 people online, but there's a few people that I don't see their name. So I love to see who's out there. Glad you're there. All right, flipping screen around, like I said. There we go. All right, I think you can see it. If I could just get a yes that you can see it, I will check the chat roll here as well. I just want to make sure everybody can see it. Oh, Bridgette's there. Hey, Bridgette, good to see you. All right. Okay, thanks, Rich. I appreciate you letting me know that you can see my screen. All right, so today, as promised, I'm going to be teaching you how to get unstuck and focused on success. And that seems to be where a lot of people do what the dreaded Q word, the quit. They quit whatever it is that they're in because they're stuck. They don't know how to get past that frustration, that feeling that you aren't having this level of success that you want. So what I want to do is I'm going to show you some ways that you can get over that hump and start having success without quitting. And really, it's all starts with you. Okay, so here we go. We're going to go right into it. So let me give you an overview as to what you're going to be learning this afternoon from me. Number one, I'm going to be sharing with you a secret that a lot of people have. So I'll be sharing that with you. And then the second thing is 3 huge tips. I was just going to say 3 tips, but I thought it'd be more fun if they were huge tips, because they really are. And if you are serious about getting unstuck, then I highly recommend you write down these tips and that you do take action on them. So you'll see that everything that happens in your life stems from your level of consistency and commitment. So if you are committed to getting unstuck and you're willing to be consistent in taking steps that I'm going to give you today to get unstuck, then you will. It will happen. I promise you that. Okay, and then lastly, I'm going to be sharing with you some resources that I got this information from, and also just so you can get additional information, because I'm not going to have time to go through every little thing to get you unstuck. And honestly, everybody's problems are a little bit different. So what I'm going to give you is kind of an overview of some basic ways to get unstuck. And then if you would like some additional resources on how to do that, then these resources should help you out tremendously. All right, so let's talk about the secret first of all. The secret to getting unstuck. We all have those times in our life in which we're in a rut, and we feel like we're just spinning our wheels. We're not getting out. We're not having the level of success that we want. So the secret really is success in anything is 80% mindset and 20% action. And most people don't realize that. I know when I first started my online business, at one of the very first, it was the very first conference that I went to. And I would say probably 90% of the speakers that got up on stage were just sharing mindset tips, how to have a positive mindset, and different things that had helped them. It was a lot of motivational speaking and things like that. And I remember sitting in the audience with my arms crossed thinking, okay, when are they going to give me the secret? And when are they going to tell me the technical knowledge and know-how that I need to do in order to be successful in my business? When are they going to share that with me? And I was getting really frustrated. I mean, I'm just sharing my own personal story here. Maybe you've been in that same situation as well. And it wasn't until later when I got a mentor and I started learning more about how to have success in anything, not just an online business, that I discovered the real secret. And the real secret is your mindset. It's your attitude. It's the way that you approach obstacles that are in your life. And if you can approach any obstacle with a positive mindset that you will get through it, that things will get better, that you will change whatever it is that's happening in your life, if you can focus on that, you will accomplish what you set out to accomplish. Now, I can't promise you it'll happen tomorrow. I can't promise you it'll happen next month, next week, next year, but I can tell you that everyone that sets out with a mindset of never say never, never say die, right? You just go for it and you focus on finding a solution or a way around the obstacle that's in your way, you're going to start to see positive changes in your life. And the other part that everybody misses is the 20%, and that's taking action. That's those technical tips that I was looking for in that conference. That's the the day-to-day grind of marketing your business and talking to people and making sales. That's the action part. But before you can even get to action, you've got to have your mind in the right spot. So I want to share with you a couple stories. So I'm gonna turn my screen back around again because I think it would be more beneficial for you to see me while I share these stories. All right, so I want to tell you two stories. One is a story that was once told to me years and years and years ago, and the other one is my own personal story that has to do with mindset. So the first story has to do with the game of basketball. How many of you out there have ever played basketball? Maybe we're on a team in high school or junior high. Go ahead, comment down below. I want to know who my basketball players are. Let me see who you guys are. Are you still there? Can you hear me? Oh, hey, Jerry. I see you popped in. Good to see you. So, all right, I'll wait. I just want to know if there's anybody out there who've played basketball or any sport for that matter. If you've played any team sport, I just want to know if you guys are paying attention or if you just tuned me out. So comment down below if you can hear me. I'm going to refresh my screen. All right, I got one answer there. Hey, Rich. You are so consistent, Rich. I just love how you always come on these Hangouts. You're so awesome. Yeah, so let me tell you the story about basketball, all right? So there were two teams, two competing teams who, they both were going for a championship, okay? There was two different coaches on these basketball teams, and these two basketball teams were going to be playing against each other. And both teams kind of knew each other. They played basketball against each other, and they were pretty evenly matched athletically. In fact, one had won one year, and the other one had won the year previous. They were pretty equally matched. Well, one of the coaches decided to do something different, just as an experiment to see if it would work. And the other coach did the tried and true method of coaching, where they went to practices and they physically practiced shooting free throws and doing all the different drills that are necessary for basketball. And the other team decided to do an unconventional method. So at their practices, rather than running up and down the floor, getting in more and more physical shape, they decided that they would spend half of their practice sitting with their eyes closed and focusing on what they wanted for their outcome. So the half that did that, they sat there, that team, they sat there in a chair, closed their eyes, and they visualized making their free throw shots again and again and again. They visualized making perfect plays and working with their teammates in order to do good defense and offense. They visualized all the different moves and things they would do. They visualized having the trophy in their hands and celebrating at the end. They did not practice physically as much as the other team. The other team just, they really practiced hard, but they didn't do any of the visualization techniques. So I want to ask you, which team do you think won? Which team do you think won at the championship? Yeah, so for those of you that are guessing, I will see if you guys say, oh, hey, I see somebody, Gigi Grant. So welcome, whoever your first name is. Glad to have you. All right, so here's the thing. Here's what happened. The team that did the visualization techniques and really focused on visualizing their shots going in, they won the tournament. Not only did they win the tournament, they won by a landslide. Okay, all of the team members played at a level that they had never seen before in previous games. I mean, they just took it a whole other level. And the reason that it worked so well is because they already saw in their mind's eye, even before they hit the court, they already saw their success. And because they saw that success, they physically played to that level of success. So I want you to know that this is really true and it really works. So for those of you that are stuck, I'm going to give you some tips on how you can visualize your success and make things happen so that you get unstuck much more rapidly. And I see Rich has got a comment down here. He says the pilots of the Blue Angels spend hours doing visualization of their air show routines. And that is exactly right. And that's awesome. I didn't know that about the Blue Angels, but the visualization is truly key to your success. All right. And yes, you're right on, Brigitte. You got it. The visual learners, the ones that visualize and focused, are the ones that succeed. So how many of you, just comment below yes or no, how many of you actually take time to visualize what you want in your life? And if you do, go ahead and write how often, as far as once per day, once a week, once a year. How often do you visualize what you want in your life? I'm just curious. So if you're there, go ahead, chat down below. Tell me how often you visualize, if you do, and how many times a year, a day, whatever you do it. Awesome. Okay, so while you're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and tell you my story, or a little bit of it. So some of you who know me, you know that I was in the corporate executive field. I used to work in the publishing industry. I worked for a big newspaper conglomeration. I kind of worked my way up the ladder from a lowly entry-level graphic designer in the newsroom to their marketing director, and then their internet director, and then from there I got hired by the actual corporate team that owned all 52 newspapers in the US. And it was a really, really nice career. I feel very fortunate that I was in that field. I learned a lot. I got to do some amazing things and to travel to some amazing places, because part of my job was I was on the digital side, and I got to go to these different different locations all over the US and to help those newspapers with their website and their advertising campaigns. But however, like any business, you never know when they're going to have corporate cutbacks. And because I was one of the higher paid employees at that company, when they started having financial trouble, they cut a lot of us from the top in order to save cost, and they outsourced our positions. So in 2013, my job was outsourced. But prior to that outsourcing, I lived in a little town in Iowa called Waterloo. Waterloo, Iowa is northeast Iowa, if you're familiar with that area. There's a university there called the University of Northern Iowa. And there was a newspaper there, which I had worked for and worked my way up before I got hired by the big corporate team. Well, I still lived there when I was working for the corporation because I traveled so much, you literally could live anywhere. Well, it was during that time that I got my first mentor. I had heard that it's so important to have a mentor. And so what I did was I hired somebody who specialized in business mentorship and helping you achieve your goals. And this mentor of mine, his name was David, he suggested to me that I write down what I would like my perfect future to look like 5 years from that date. And I should write it down as if it had already happened. And this was, boy, this was back in, I want to say it was 2003. It might have been 2004 when I wrote all this down. So I took it seriously. I sat down, and at the time I was living in a little 2-bedroom home that I had been in a little 2-bedroom home in a very old neighborhood in Waterloo, Iowa. And this home, it was a kind of a nicer place. It was entry level, but a liquor store had moved into town right there on the corner of where I lived, and then there was another business that moved in, like a nightclub, and all of a sudden the neighborhood started going down as far as we started to have some crime. We had a lot of traffic, a lot more traffic than normal. Oftentimes there would be drunk people passed out on my porch. So it was not the best environment for me to live. And so at the time, I was really stressed out in the business, in the company I was with, because I was gone so much. I was gone 2 weeks out of every month. And I did not see how I was going to be able to have children because I hadn't had any children at that point in my life. And I couldn't figure out how all that was going to fit together. So what I did was I wrote down what I would really like. And here I was living in the city, and I could touch my neighbor's house if I stuck my hand out the window. So I didn't want that anymore. So in my visualization, I wrote down that I really wanted to have a little acreage by a lake with trees and hills. I wanted a nice home that was quiet and peaceful. I wanted to be home for my children, my future children. And I wrote it as if it already had happened, that my children were there in the house, and that I was in this beautiful home that overlooked the lake, and that there were hiking trails and things like that. So I wrote it all out as if it had happened, and I'd also written out that I worked for myself. And it really was a poignant letter to myself as to what my life looked like in the future. And this was in 2003. And I wrote it as if it had happened 5 years in the future. It didn't happen right exactly in the 5 years in the future, but in 2000, and actually it was 2004 when I wrote it, because it would have been the end of 2003. In 2010, everything that I wrote in that letter came true. Everything. Okay? I mean, I don't even know, it was like magical how it happened, but it all came true. So like right now, I know you can only see a little bit of my office, and maybe on another hangout, I'll take my computer and walk around, but I'm almost out of juice. Otherwise I'd do that. I'm plugged in right now. But I'll tell you right now, I lived, ever since 2010, I live in a nice home overlooking Table Rock Lake in southern Missouri. It's beautiful here. There's lots of trees and wildlife that surrounds us. We have a little trail that goes right down to the lake where my 2 sons can go fishing, and we go swimming down there often. And I work from home. I mean, I live here. I work here. This is my office that you're seeing in the background. And I have literally manifested everything that I wrote down in that letter many years ago. And it kind of gives me chills when I think about it, because it came true. Now, since then, I have written another letter of what I'd like my next 5 years to look like. And so I want to share this with you because it really does work. Now, it didn't happen exactly, the date that I put down, but it didn't matter. The fact is that it did work. And if you believe in yourself and you believe in your dreams and that you're worthy of achieving those dreams and getting unstuck, it'll happen. I will tell you though, be careful what you write. Okay, and I shared this. I was recently in Vegas. That's why we did not have a down and dirty last Monday, because I was in Las Vegas for a conference. And while I was there, I was sitting at supper with a bunch of different people in our group from Vegas, and I shared this story that I'm sharing with you now. And one of the things I had written in my letter to myself was what my husband would be like. Because at the time when I wrote it, we were having some marital spats and things like that. And so I had written in my letter some of the things that my husband and I would do more frequently, such as date night, and that we would enjoy traveling together, and we would do different things. I had written all these things out in my letter. Well, I say be careful what you write about, because 6 years later, my first husband and I divorced, and I am now married. I got married just past March, and my new husband, he is exactly what I wrote in that letter. I mean, we do all of those things, and that's just a part of his personality. Unfortunately, that wasn't part of the personality of my first husband, but I just find it ironic that what I wrote came true. Okay, and I guess it's not really ironic. It just proves that it can happen. If it can happen for me, I know it can happen for you, because I mean, who am I? I'm not a magician or anything like that. I'm just somebody who followed the instructions. I wrote down what I wanted, and every now and then I reread that letter to myself. And I bring this up because it was only about a month ago that I was flipping through an old journal, and I stumbled across that letter. And then it was all of a sudden that I realized that all of those things had come true. So I hope that inspires you, and that's why I wanted to flip the screen around and just share this with you, so that you know that it's really possible. All right, so let me see if there's any answers here. Oh, Bridget, you said yes, you focus on visualization 2 times a day. That is so good. You've got me beat. I do it once a day, but 2 times a day is even better. And yeah, Rich, he says he visualizes all the time. Yes, sometimes you do get distracted, and that's where I'm going to lead you into these tips. Awesome. Thank you for that, Bridget. Appreciate it. Okay, so let me flip back around and continue with the tips on how you can start getting yourself unstuck. So flip around. You have to click like 8 buttons to flip it around. All right, here we go. There we go. So, so we talked about mindset. Let's go into the 3 tips. Okay, so the 3 things I'm going to share with you today, if you can do them every day, you will start moving the dial towards a more successful life. And definitely, it's going to help you get unstuck in your life. So let's head forward here. So tip 1, start your day with gratitude. Okay, so what does that mean exactly? It means focus on what you are thankful for in your life. Oftentimes we just do it at Thanksgiving. Here in the U.S., I know some of you that are here are not in the United States, but here in the U.S., when we have Thanksgiving, we go around the table and we share, what we're thankful for. Well, how many of you actually think about what you're thankful for on a daily basis? If you want to write down below that you do that, great. But I'm betting that a lot of you forget to be thankful for the things you already have that are positive in your life. So mentally, I challenge you to do this. This is your tip. I challenge you to, before you get out of bed every morning, to list 10 things in your mind. You can even say it out loud if you want. If you're married, you might want to forewarn your spouse that you're going to be speaking out loud to yourself. But list 10 things that you're grateful for before you ever get out of bed in the morning. And I challenge you to do that before you pick up your smartphone and grab that, because I know that we all have a tendency to do something like that, to start going right into our day and thinking about what we got to get done, and getting dressed if you're going to a job, and maybe you don't want to get up and go to your job, but you're thinking about that. Stop that. Okay, start thinking about what you're grateful for. And at first, it may only be that you're grateful that you're breathing. You're thankful that you have warm covers over you and a nice soft pillow. You're thankful for, if you're married, maybe you're thankful for your spouse. You're thankful for your children if you have children. Maybe you're thankful for the home that you live in. Maybe you really love your home. Maybe you're thankful that you have a car that works, that can get you to where you need to go. Thankful for food in your cupboard. I mean, I could list way more than 10 right now. Maybe you're thankful that you're having a good hair day, whatever it is. But what I challenge you to do is really, really take time to do this every morning, because number one, it's going to put you in the proper mindset. It's going to get you focusing on something positive, because when you're already in a positive mood and you're thankful for things that are in your life, it starts your day off in a better way. You start off in a really good, pleasant place. And I don't know about you, but sometimes the way you start your day, the way I start my day, if I don't do this exercise, I'm kind of grouchy, because I don't like to get up. I'm not a morning person. I'll just be honest with you, but I have to, because my children have to go to school and things like that. So I really focus on what I'm grateful for, and that helps me to start my day in a really good mood. Get up, I make my children breakfast, my husband breakfast, and then I'm ready to start my day in a much more positive way. And I do not pick up my phone and start going through messages and emails until I've done this, because I find that I get in that emergency stress mode where I just am not in a good place when I do that. So can you guys do that? I think it'll really help you get unstuck if you can start doing that. And it doesn't have to be in the morning. I just find that that's the best time for me. You can do this, in the evening before you go to bed. You can do this during the middle of the day if you're having a struggle in your day. And sometimes that's all it takes to flip things around for you. Okay? All right, let's go to tip 2. Tip 2. Who is the person that you want to be? All right. This is something that you're going to want to take some time to really write this down. What is it that in a perfect situation, what would you be? What would you look like? What would you be doing? Where would you be living? Who would you be married to if that's something you aspire to do? Who would be your friends? What does that life look like? And the reason that this may take you a little bit of time, but the reason that this is important is that it's going to help you to focus on where you're going in your life. It's going to give you that direction. Because honestly, when you're stuck in a rut in your life, the reason why you're stuck is because you don't know how to get out and you don't know where you really need to go. So if you can focus on who you're trying to become, and these are the behaviors, the personality aspects of who you're trying to become, you're going to start seeing a way out of that. You'll see solutions where you didn't see them before. So if you can focus on the behaviors and personality aspects that you would have if you were your ideal self, suddenly you'll start making those decisions that lead to being that ideal person. So let me give you an example. So perhaps you would like to be healthy and fit. So write down, I am healthy and fit. Okay. List 2 or 3 goals that you want to accomplish that are related to that. So you might say, today I'm going to eat good foods that will fuel my body and help me to be healthy and fit. Maybe you are habitually late for different things. So you might say, I am on time because I respect others. And so you want to be that person. You want to be that person that's on time. So start thinking about, what are some goals that you can have for the day that'll help you to be more timely. Okay. Or maybe you're trying to mend a relationship. So you might say, I am a good spouse. I take time to listen to my husband or my wife. I take time to appreciate them and compliment them for things that they do, because that's who I am. I am someone who's loving and caring, and I really enjoy people. So by thinking about who it is that you want to be, it's going to help you to focus on taking more positive actions in your life. And what I recommend you do as your tip here is to list 2 to 3 goals that you want to accomplish each day that are going to take you to who you want to be. Maybe you want to be a successful entrepreneur. What are 2 or 3 goals that a successful entrepreneur might do in a day? We'll pick those and write them down and start aspiring to be that person. And it really will start to move the dial and change the direction of your day and help you to get unstuck no matter where you are. Okay, all right, so I'm going to check just really quick, make sure I haven't lost you all. See who's there. Oh, I love that, Brigitte, that you're writing a gratitude journal. That's awesome. Yeah, Nicole, I like it that you do them before you go to sleep. That's a really great way to have good dreams as well. I know that a lot of times I keep a notebook by my bed and I write down things that maybe I'm worried about for the next day, and that allows me to go to sleep without thinking about all those things anymore. Hey, way to go, Gabrielle. I see you started just 3 days ago. That's great. I'd like to know how it goes after 30, 90 days of this. We'll have to touch base and see how it goes. Awesome. Yes, little by little. And one thing I want to say to all of you is, these tips that I'm giving you, I don't want you to get angry at yourself if you don't do them one day, okay? Because it's going to happen. We all are human. But take it one day at a time. For any of you that have ever been through any type of 12-step program of any kind, you'll know that that's one of the slogans that they use is, take everything one day at a time, because that's all you have to worry about is today. Don't worry about tomorrow. Don't worry about the past. Think about today. What can I do to be a better version of myself today? And if you mess up today, don't worry about it. You always have tomorrow to make it better, and maybe that's one of the goals that you'll set, is that you will do all 3 of these tips that I'm going to give you the next day. Okay? All right, let's go to number 3. Tip 3. What is holding you back, and who do you not want to be? So this is sort of the opposite of tip 2, but this is really important. And here's why it's important. Because it forces you to evaluate your current life choices. If you want to be successful, or you want to be a great spouse, or you want to have an incredible business, what is it right now that's holding you back from having that today? Is it that you're not doing certain things that you need to be doing? Is it that maybe you are drinking too much? I mean, let's just throw something out there. Some people, you have some addiction issues that are preventing you from having the level of success that you'd like. So if you've got, it doesn't have to be something big like an addiction issue, but let's just use that as one example. Perhaps that you do not want to be somebody that drinks. You want to be somebody that is, successful and is inspirational to others, and has control over your addictions. So then evaluate those life choices and look for solutions to those problems in your life. Or maybe it's as simple as, you don't feel like you have enough time in your day. So, what things are you doing in your day that are eating up all your time? If you don't want to be somebody that's always rushed, for example, then take a look at your schedule, and are there things in your day-to-day operations that you really don't need to be doing anymore? Maybe those things are holding you back from achieving your greatest good. And I know sometimes it can be hard to tell people no, but I can tell you that it's empowering when you realize that you can. All right, I'll give you an example of this. It's kind of funny. I don't know why I'm even bringing this up, but we're real here. This is a down and dirty. You get Vishon raw, uncut. So here I am. So one of the things that I am a part of, or my sons are a part of, is Boy Scouts. Okay, they're involved in the scouting program, and I was getting frustrated because the communication on what activities were going on was not very clear. It was kind of last minute all the time. And so I volunteered to be their secretary and take down notes and send out an email to all of the parents on when events were happening. And that was something that I wanted to do to help out. But then because I did a good job with it and now everybody knows what's going on, they tried to get me to do other things in the organization. They asked me to do this and they asked me to do that. And I looked at my schedule and I looked at what I really wanted to accomplish. And I realized that if I volunteered for anything else, I was not going to be able to accomplish the things that I needed to accomplish for my life and my family and my business. And so I told them no. And it was kind of a hard thing to do because I know they really need the help. But I realized that if I did not tell them no, that I was going to be in a place where I wasn't happy. And I'm just fine helping them out with sending out emails weekly. I think that's, that was what I was willing to commit to. And so I made it very clear to the president of the organization, these are the things that I can do. These are the things I cannot do. And at first I could see she was kind of irritated with me. But, then I realized that I made the right choice. And what was cool? Because I stepped away, another parent who was new, who just joined, stepped up and agreed to do some of the other things. So I share this with you because I think, especially as women, we tend to overextend ourselves. I know we got some guys here, Rich. This goes out to women as well as men. Some men overextend themselves, but I do find that a lot of women, we do it even more so. And so don't be afraid to say no, and don't be afraid to cut things out of your life that are not serving you or others in a positive way. And if you're angry about doing certain things, then it's time to delegate that to somebody else. I'll give you another example, and I'm hoping these examples help you out. But one of the things that I'm just not really good at, and that is that's getting all the laundry done at our house. It's not that it's a hard job. It's that there's just a lot of it. When you got two boys that are always in the mud and dirty and everything else, it's difficult to get it all done. And for a while there, as a woman, I felt like it was my job to get all the laundry done. But sometimes, it would stay in the dryer for way longer than it needed to be. And then you'd have wrinkled clothes and all this stuff. And it's just because I wasn't on top of it. And all of a sudden it dawned on me, I have two sons that are in elementary school that are quite capable of doing laundry. And so we had a laundry lesson. This was a few months ago. We had a laundry lesson for the boys, and now they're responsible for doing the laundry. Now, sometimes do they mix up the reds with the whites? Absolutely. But that's, it's in their clothes and they can deal with that, and there's consequences with it. And by delegating that, I found I'm not angry about it anymore because I know that they can do it, they can handle it, they can do the laundry. And it's really made our house work a little better. So I know these are just small examples, and definitely they are personal examples, but I hope that that helps you all to realize that it's okay to delegate and find solutions that might be holding you back and preventing you from being in my case, being a good mother and being a good executive and having the time to do the things necessary for my business. So here's your homework for tip 3, and that is say out loud what you are not so that you don't keep doing it again and again. So maybe you are a procrastinator. So you don't want to be that. You want to be somebody that gets things done right away. So start saying out loud, just for today, make a different decision and say, I am not a procrastinator. And if you can pick one thing per day that you are not going to be, and it could be the same thing every day. Maybe it's really, really a struggle for you with procrastination. So then say that every day when you do your gratitude, that you are not a procrastinator. And when you do that, you're going to start making different decisions that help you so that you don't become a procrastinator any longer, because you don't have to be any negative thing that's happening to you. You don't have to be that anymore. Every day is a new day, and every day is a new slate. You can change things completely. You can change your life like that in a snap, in an instant. You can change your life. The thing that's holding you back is fear. It's fear of what other people think of you. It's fear of what your parents or your spouse or your children think of you, or society. But the reality is you have to live with yourself every day. You have to live with yourself all the way till death, right? So don't worry so much about what others think. Worry about making your life the best that you can make it, and making it so that you're the best version of yourself. Now, this doesn't mean you're selfish, because I used to think that. My mentor told me this stuff, and I thought, man, that sounds like I'm so selfish to say that, but it's not. When you make yourself the best version of yourself that you can be, it's called filling your cup. You can't give back to others. You can't fill other people's cup until your cup is filled first. It's the truth. If you're constantly trying to please others, you are starving yourself of joy and happiness and peace and abundance and success and all of those things that everyone is worthy of having. Okay? All right, so I know I've talked a lot on this particular slide. I want to give you the next one, and that's the resources. These are just 3 of many resources that have personally helped me to really change and become unstuck and become a better leader and become more successful, and really to see things in a much different way than I used to years ago. So there's 3 books, and you can get these, pick them up on Amazon or at your nearest bookseller. I like to listen to books rather than read them, because like I said earlier, when we're doing laundry or cooking or doing errands, it's so much easier for me to listen to them. So I use a little app called Audible, and you can download that. Just do a search for Audible, download that on your phone, and then you can listen to most of these books. The only one that I have not found an Audible version for is the first one here, and I did find an ebook version. And anyhow, let me go through these. The first one is Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. This is by Dr. Joe Dispenza. This is a very powerful book. It's probably one of the deepest and most powerful books that I've read in a long time. I will tell you from a personal experience, it's kind of a slow read. It's very scientific, but it really explains how your brain works and how you can change any habits that you have in your life, and change the way that you live your life in order to be a better and more successful person. So, take a look at that one. If you want an easier read, check out this next book, and that's Pam Grout, E Squared. This is a really quick read. It's set up in experiments. There's 9 different experiments that show you that your thoughts create your own reality. And the reason this is so powerful is because it wasn't until I read this book that I realized just how powerful our thoughts really are. And these are simple and fun experiments, especially if any of you have children. The experiments that are in here are really, really fun to do with kids. My kids love them. They did them with me. And it does, in fact, at least me, and it's objective. I mean, your experiments may not work, but for me, most of them did work, and it completely transformed the way I think about mindset and the way that I believe about the law of attraction. And it also has helped me to manifest some pretty amazing things in my life as well. For instance, I'll give you an example. During one of the experiments, I'll just share with one of them, and that was, you were supposed to, in 48 hours, believe that if there was a universe and there's a higher power, that in 48 hours, something amazing is going to happen that is going to leave you without a doubt that there is a higher power at play. And for me, I didn't think this one was going to work. I thought it was kind of a challenge to God, and I didn't think this was a really cool experiment, but I went through it anyway. I said, okay, in 48 hours, I'm going to get some kind of a sign that that something great is going to happen that proves to me that there is a higher power in existence. And I will tell you, right down to the final hour of that 48-hour experiment, I got a mystery call from a music video producer who wanted to shoot a music video in my karate studio. Okay, so I know that sounds really random and really odd, but earlier that week I was just talking about how I wanted to promote my karate school. And for those of you who don't know, I also have another business. I run a karate dojo, And I was looking at alternative ways to promote my karate school to get more students. And so I was thinking about that before I did the experiment. And then lo and behold, you know, an hour before the deadline of this experiment, I get this call from a music producer who wanted to shoot a music video in my karate studio and have me be a part of it. And they did. They came out. It was that following Saturday. They came out. They shot a music video. My husband and I and my sons got to be in the video. It went viral on YouTube, and it's amazing. So if you want the link, I'd be happy to send the link. Just comment down below, and I'll try to post that so that you guys can check out the music video that was done in our karate dojo. It's kind of funny. Okay, and then the third book here is Money and the Law of Attraction. This one, wow, I've actually listened to this one 4 times now on Audible because, number one, I absolutely love Esther's voice. Esther Hicks is the one that reads it. She's the narrator, and she just has a beautiful voice, and it's very soothing, and I just love listening to her voice. And but the Money and the Law of Attraction book, it really helped me to realize just how much our thoughts create our life. And so if you're feeling stuck, a lot of times it's because, well, I would say all the time, it's because your thoughts are attracting those feelings of being stuck. And so if you can start thinking of things that help you be unstuck, think of positive things that are happening and gratitude and things like that, you're going to suddenly start having better things happen to you in your life. Opportunities are going to present themselves that you didn't have before. Maybe they were there, but you just never saw them before because you were so focused on being stuck. So these are the 3 books, and The Money and the Law of Attraction is by Esther and Jerry Hicks. They're also the authors of Ask It and Is Given, which is another great book, but this one is my favorite in their series. So I highly recommend, if you haven't read any of these, check them out or download them, and I think you'll be impressed with how it helps you to have a much better life and to become unstuck. So I'm going to go ahead and flip my screen back around here. That was my last slide. All right, I hope that you have found today's Down and Dirty helpful. I hope you got some tips and techniques on how you can get out of the situation that you're in. I wanted to see who else is there. Okay, yeah, Gabrielle, I'll be happy to send the link to my music video. So I'll post that. I'll post that here. I tell you what, I'll send it out in the email so that everybody gets it, because not everybody checks the chat. So I'll send an email out with my music video. It's really pretty hilarious. It's a parody video. The people that did it, they do parodies of famous songs, kind of like Weird Al Yankovic, if you remember him from the 80s and 90s. And yeah, they're kind of like that. So I'll send it to you. It's hilarious, but you'll see it. I did get some new students from it, so that's good. But yeah, I hope that this has been helpful. I really appreciate you all. Carrie, Nicole, Rich, Terry, Bridget, and Gabrielle, thank you so much for being on the live hangout. And for those of you that are watching the recording, feel free to say hello down below. I do check the chat, and I try to answer any questions that are there. So thank you so much. And I see some really great comments in here, so I'm going to start going through and reading some of these. And again, have a great week and make it a wonderful week where you're unstoppable and unstuck. Take care. Have a good day.